Good morning, Mr. Erekat.
Good morning to you, sir.
The threats of the American administration, how serious are they?
Very serious.
And what is the meaning of the cutback?
Blackmail, a war against the Palestinians by financial pressure, by pressure of dictating. Netanyahu and Trump got to the position where they believe they can take Jerusalem off the table, take refugees off the table, legalize settlements, drop the idea of two states on 1967 lines, and they believe that Palestinians will capitulate and accept this.
Mr. Erekat, $200 million, it's not the first time the Americans are cutting back on American aid to the Palestinians. But there is something that is weird, because Abu Mazen, Mahmoud Abbas himself, cut back on help for the Palestinians in Gaza.
No, sir, that's not true. We did not cut anything on Gaza. Gaza has a coup d'etat launched by Hamas. We're spending on the average $1.5 million monthly on Gaza. The last 2 months, because of the American cuts and other cuts, which went down to $96 million. This is something absolutely different. We want to seek reconciliation in Gaza. We want to unite the West Bank and Gaza, and that's what we're counting on the Egyptians to do. We want to reach a hudna, tahdi'a, calm in Gaza, comprehensive, not between Hamas and Israel, but between the PLO, Hamas, Jihad, and every faction with Israel. Unfortunately, you have an American administration and an Israeli administration that have taken Palestinians and Israelis off the path of peace. And I don't know the end game of this. I don't know what they're doing other than destroying the moderates, Palestinians who believe in the two-state solution, who have recognized Israel, who believe in achieving peace through negotiations and not violence. I think that's what they're destroying.
Mr. Erekat, on the other side, Trump also promised that Israel will pay higher price for the embassy move. Isn't it good for you?
I don't know what he means when he talks about higher price. It should be known for you as Israelis and Americans that without East Jerusalem being capital of Palestine, the place of Al-Aqsa Mosque where Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven, Nativity Church, if this cannot be the capital of the Palestinian state, I don't think we'll ever have peace. We have recognized Israel's right to exist and live in peace and security on the 1967 line. That's 78% of historic British mandated Palestine. And we have accepted through the negotiations to have to be a demilitarized country, to have swaps, to have third party. And yet Israel still insists on the nationality law that only Jews have rights to determination, then continuing with the settlement activities. And they're just playing the game, kill the Palestinians and accuse them of being terrorists and make the killers the victim and make the killed the terrorists. This will not serve any other purpose other than inciting and creating and enlarging the cycle of violence and counter-violence. And unfortunately, Israelis really believe that ideas can be killed with bullets, along with their friend President Trump. And they believe that ideas can be killed with bullets and ideas can be stopped from traveling. We don't grant them visas. Well, these are the mistakes of statesmen in the 2018. This political blindness will lead nowhere. Palestinians have no option but to remain in this land. And the question to Mr. Netanyahu and to his brilliance about Jewish national laws, whatever, what are you going to do with us? Today, from my hometown Jericho to the Mediterranean, I am, as a Christian and Muslim Palestinian, 50.1% of the population.
Mr. Erekat, allow me just to point out one subject. You are talking about the peace process, perhaps about a peace agreement, but everything is freezed in the past few years. Nothing happens. There are no talks and no peace agreement and no peace process. So what kind of peace are you talking about?
Well, it should be noted that in April the 23rd, 2014, it was Mr. Netanyahu who suspended the negotiations. I was meeting with Madam Livni, Mr. Melcho, and Martin Endek was with us, and Mr. Majid Faraj, and the American consulate in West Jerusalem. And then they decided to stop the negotiations because we signed the Charter agreement with Hamas.
Yes, we know history. Let's talk about the future. Do you see in your eyes any kind of peace process happening again or kick-started by this American administration?
No, look, you asked two questions. This American administration or peace is going to be done between Palestinians and Israelis. And if we don't help ourselves as Palestinians and Israelis, nobody else will. You may have the children, adolescents, the Congress, the Senate, the influence you have in these policymakers in the United States, but we don't have a quarrel with the United States. I don't seek land in Alaska. They don't seek land in Jericho. Secondly, my problem with you is not a religious one. Judaism is not a threat to me. Judaism was never a threat, will never be a threat. It's one of God's great religion. We don't fight, you and I, over something written in my holy book or your
well, there is a huge disagreement about what you are saying, because Netanyahu is saying it is a religious war because the Palestinians will never accept the fact that Jews are living here. But we don't have time to get into this deep discussion. I want to ask you about the peace process, because you are talking about, you are using this term that has been killed, right? Has been destroyed by politicians just a few years ago. Do you see in any point in the near future the possibility that a new peace process will be reignited by the two sides?
What are the options in front of Palestinians and Israelis? Number one, Jews, after 5,700 years of being Jews, I'll tell you, they're not thinking of converting to Christianity and Islam and become Palestinians. Right. Christian and Muslim Palestinians are not thinking of converting Judaism and becoming Israelis. The only option for Palestinians and Israelis is to live and let live. We are destined to live as neighbors, each in his own state. A state of Palestine to live side by side, the state of Israel in peace and security on the 1967 border.
That's the utopic idea of what we are talking about.
This will come. This is a need. Peace is not something that you wake up and feel your conscience aching for the others. It's a need for you, for your children, for your grandchildren. It's a need for me.
Okay. Having said that, there is no peace process in the past few years, and nothing really happens. Nothing really happened in the past few years, except the fact that the Palestinians and the Israelis had the same goals, avoiding or fighting together against terrorism in Judea and Samaria, and this is happening. But all the other sides of the peace process are killed, are destroyed, are not existing.
Yeah.
How do we go forward in your eyes?
We go forward since we as Palestinians are telling you we recognize the state of Israel right to exist and live in peace and security. We wait for the emergence of an Israeli leader who will have the balls and the courage to say we recognize the state of Palestine, who will stop settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories, and who will accept to sit down the negotiations without conditions. Because Mr. Netanyahu, the last offer was made to him by President Putin on 15th of July this year, to come to Moscow and meet with Abu Mazen in Moscow under his auspices. And Netanyahu refused. And he has refused every other offer. And he comes to your program and to Israel and say, oh, I want to make peace, but Abu Mazen is not a partner. So if Mother Teresa were to be the president of the Palestinians, and Montesquieu were to be the speaker, and Thomas Jefferson the prime minister, and if they were to say 2 states, 67, I'm sure that
the two-state solution is still something to talk about? Mr. Erekat, the two-state solution is still something to talk about, because there are bigger and bigger groups in Israeli society that say and believe that the two-state solution is something that cannot be done. It's over.
So what can be done?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should live together. I don't know.
Look.
I don't want to, but there are groups in Israeli society that do want to.
There are Palestinians in my side who are really criticizing me and asking me to shut up and to stop speak about the two-state solution. And they want one state, equal rights. My answer to them, realistically speaking, no Israeli, including you, will ever accept this. It's a very civilized concept, where Jews, Muslims, and Christians will be equal votes, one person, one vote. But this will not be accepted by Israel. And the one-state, two-system Netanyahu is offering at the upper side will not be accepted by Palestinians. Hear me and hear me well. The only option for Palestinians and Israelis is to live and let live. is the two-state solution, where the state of Israel will live side by side, the state of Palestine will be Jerusalem's capital on the 1960s.
But somebody has to talk. Somebody has to sit down and talk and negotiate and do that, and it is not happening. Perhaps the American plan that President Trump is preparing for us,
deal of the century.
The deal of the century, as Alexandra is telling us, maybe this will help.
You know, I met with the Americans in 2017 35 times. And I think I hold the record on this. They haven't shared anything. I think they're trying to implement the deal by saying Jerusalem is off the table, refugees is off the table, settlements are legal, Palestinians should drop the 1967 borders, and then now the game they're playing now is to separate Gaza from the West Bank, and they think that this can work. This will complicate matters. This will enlarge the cycle of extremists, violence and counter-violence. This is stupid. This is political blindness.
Yeah.
And sometimes the arrogance of nations and the political blindness of leaders like Netanyahu have led people to disasters.
Well,
we want to resume the negotiations. We believe that negotiation is the only path between Palestinians and Israelis, void of violence, to achieve peace between Palestinians and Israelis. And this is the only option, is a two-state on the 1967 borders where Israel...
Mr. Erekat.
Okay.
Mr. Erekat, I want to thank you so much for talking with us, and of course I'm going to translate all your thoughts. Thank you for sharing with us your thoughts. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.